In recent years, more Americans have been receiving letters related to Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid, and the first reaction is often fear. Many immediately assume they are being accused of fraud or worry that their benefits are gone forever. But in reality, America's public benefit system is far more complicated than most people realize. And the most important thing Americans need to understand is this: losing benefits does not automatically mean someone committed a crime. When federal agencies use the word fraud, they are not referring to a simple paperwork mistake or a minor administrative error. Under federal benefit programs, fraud generally means intentionally providing false information in order to obtain money, medical coverage, or government benefits that a person is not legally entitled to receive. For example, someone may be investigated for intentionally hiding income while receiving SSI, using a false identity, continuing to collect payments for a deceased person, or providing false information about marital status or residency. The SSA Office of the Inspector General is responsible for investigating allegations involving fraud, waste, abuse, or misconduct connected to Social Security programs. If investigators uncover evidence of criminal wrongdoing, the case may be referred to federal, state, or local prosecutors for possible criminal charges. In Medicare, fraud often involves medical billing schemes. Examples may include charging Medicare for services a patient never received, billing for unnecessary medical equipment, or using another person's Medicare number to submit fraudulent claims. That is why Medicare repeatedly warns Americans to protect their Medicare number, the same way they would protect a credit card or Social Security number. People should never give out their Medicare information in exchange for free gifts, cash rewards, free medical devices, or suspicious special offers over the phone. However, this is the critical point many Americans misunderstand. Losing Medicaid, SSI, or Medicare benefits does not automatically mean fraud occurred. In reality, millions of benefit interruptions happen because of administrative problems, missing paperwork, delayed renewals, or data mismatches. Some people never receive important notices. Others move and forget to update their address. Some submit renewal documents too late, and in some cases, government databases simply fail to match information correctly. So when Americans receive a letter from SSA, Medicare, or Medicaid, the first step should not be panic. The most important thing is to carefully read the explanation, understand the response deadline, and determine whether appeal rights are available. This has become one of the most controversial issues in America's public benefit system. Many Americans lose Medicaid coverage not because they intentionally violated the rules, but because the system requires eligibility verification. It is important to remember that Medicaid is administered individually by each state. Every state operates its own program while still following federal guidelines. During eligibility reviews, benefits may be terminated if renewal forms are not returned on time, proof of income is missing, an address change was never reported, or the state Medicaid office cannot reach the recipient. In addition, information shared between tax agencies, Social Security records, and Medicaid databases does not always match correctly. Sometimes a person is flagged by the system simply because records cannot be verified quickly enough. The dangerous part is that many people believe a termination notice is final. But under federal rules, Americans generally have the right to challenge these decisions. In Medicaid, this process is commonly called a fair hearing. A fair hearing allows individuals to ask the state to review a decision if they believe their case was handled incorrectly or unfairly. In other words, people do not have to quietly accept the first decision. If they believe they still qualify, they should act immediately. That often means contacting the state Medicaid office directly, requesting an appeal or fair hearing, saving all notices and paperwork, documenting phone calls and conversations, and submitting supporting evidence before the deadline. In many situations, responding quickly can prevent a complete loss of medical coverage. One of the biggest misconceptions in America is this: if Social Security denies a claim, the case is over. That is simply not true. The SSA provides several levels of appeal for people who disagree with a decision about their benefits. Under the official Social Security appeals process, individuals generally have 4 opportunities to challenge a decision. The first level is called reconsideration. At this stage, the case is reviewed again by someone who was not involved in the original decision. If the claimant still disagrees, they may request a hearing before an administrative law judge. After that, the case may be reviewed by the Appeals Council, and in some situations, individuals may even take the matter into federal court. This is extremely important because appealing a decision is not begging the government for help. It is a legal right built directly into the American system. But there is one factor that matters enormously: deadlines. In many Social Security cases, people have only 60 days to request further review after receiving a decision notice. SSA generally assumes that a person receives the letter within 5 days of the mailing date, unless proven otherwise. That means missing an appeal deadline can permanently damage a person's ability to protect their benefits, even if the original decision was incorrect. That is why experts consistently recommend 3 simple steps. First, never ignore mail from Social Security. Second, carefully read the section explaining appeal rights. And third, act immediately if you disagree with the decision. In America's legal system, an initial denial does not necessarily mean the end of the case, but waiting too long can sometimes cause people to lose the opportunity to defend themselves. Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are incredibly complex systems, and in many cases, Americans lose benefits not because of fraud, but because of incomplete paperwork, mismatched records, or unfinished administrative procedures. The most important thing everyone can do is understand their rights. Read all notices carefully, keep copies of important documents, watch deadlines closely, and if you believe a decision is wrong, use your right to appeal before it's too late. Because in the American welfare system, understanding the rules is sometimes as important as the benefits themselves. To learn more important information, please watch the next video.